Hi, here we are for Chapter 8, A Versatile Communicator. I love this quote by Cabot Robert. He says, 85% of the reason that we get a job, keep a job, and move ahead in a job is our people skills and our people knowledge. I couldn't agree with that more. This particular chapter is based off a course that I usually spend a whole day teaching and facilitating on. We're only going to skim the surface. For that course, there's an accurate instrument that will detect or will help you determine what behavioral style you are through external surveys and your own perspective. We have one attached to the course. It's not nearly as accurate, but it'll give you an idea of what behavioral style that you might have. It's all based off of some research done by Dr. Marston, someone who started researching people in the early 1900s to figure out why they behaved the way they did and why they communicated the way they did. Again, like most things, we are what we are because of a blend of nurture and nature. We get certain genes from our parents that are hardwired in, and then we're exposed to certain external stimuli that they call environment. So the environment we grew up in that might influence our behavioral style would be the friends, our siblings, rural or urban growing up, even maybe some of our background, our family traditions, those kind of things create that. And so by age 12, we determine what's called our core personality. And that's formed by us trying to figure out, through that age group, how to get certain things. And so we try different approaches to get things, right, to make things happen our way. So you may be someone who plotted and created a plan to get what you wanted. You may be somebody that just demanded what you want and you got it. You may be somebody who sat in the corner and looked cute and got what you wanted. You may be somebody who danced and sang and entertained to get what you wanted. The more you did that, the more you got what you wanted to get by doing that, the more that behavior is reinforced. Yeah, it's a little bit more complex than that, but you get the idea. The more we do that, then we get comfortable with that style, and that's the style we continue to use, right? Let me do a little analogy to tie into this. If you could follow along with me, it'd be great. I want you to cross your arms, okay? So this is comfy. This is comfortable, right? So this might be the comfortable behavioral style that I like. On the count of 3, I'm going to ask you to cross your arms the other way. Ready? 1, 2, 3. How's that feel? Probably not as comfortable, right? Are you even crossing your arms the same way you were the other way? So the idea behind this analogy is if I come to you and I'm in my comfort zone, it may not be a comfort zone for you, the way I behave, the way I communicate. So you're here, and my ability to build a relationship with you is severely challenged. What I need to find out is what's your comfort zone. And that's the big lesson in this program, right? So to simplify, there's 4 main styles. Okay? They are all put together by 2 axes. Those axes are dimensions. The vertical axis is the way we influence people. Some people are more direct. They tell you what to do, and they're very precise about doing it. They're very quick-spoken, and is very clear on what their intentions are. On the other end of the scale, you have people who are more subtle. You do it through a questioning approach. They take a little bit longer time to think about what they're going to do. Right? No best place to be on that scale, but somewhere in there is our comfort zone. The vertical axis dimension is about responsiveness, and it's how we respond to things. Do we tend to show a lot of emotion, or do we tend to control our emotions? Those folks that are on the top end of the scale tend to control their emotions a little bit more. They tend to think logically about tasks. They think to create and problem solve using facts and numbers. The people on the south end of that axis tend to openly show their emotions. You don't have to guess on what their emotions are. And they focus more on people. And they tend to maybe even use a little more intuition in decision making. Again, no best place to be, but somewhere in there is our most comfortable comfort zone, our way of being, right? If you take the two comfort zones from that, then we end up in one of 4 quadrants. So you have people who control their emotion a little bit more and tend to be a little bit more subtle, or those that think things through, those that like all the information before they move forward. If you have people who control their emotion, but they tend to be more direct, those are the people that want to move forward. Action, activity, that's what moves things. That's what makes things happen. They tend to be the hard chargers. If you have people that, now we move to the responsive or the emotional side of the scale, and you have those that are again more subtle, but tend to show emotion. Those are kind of the peacekeepers. Those are the ones that kind of just go along with things to make people feel more comfortable. And then we have those that are on the emotional side that tend to be more direct. Those that are outgoing, fast-talking, entertaining folks as we go through that. No best place to be, but the world is pretty much 25, 25, 25 in each one of those categories. So here's where this comes into place. If I happen to be, which I am, one of the more subtle, right, and emotional folks, then 25% of the population is pretty much in my quadrant, and those people are easy to communicate with. I share one quadrant with another 50% of the population. With those that are thinking, I share that subtle approach, right? With those that are the entertainers, I share that emotional dimension. So we have something. So they're not that difficult to reach, but I still need to move to make them feel more comfortable. But I really need to modify my approach for the hard chargers because I have nothing in common with those. Those are the folks that I'll never create a relationship, a trusting relationship with, unless I make changes in my own behavior. That's versatility. That's what we're talking about. Okay? So once I identify somebody's style as one of the 4 quadrants, and I know where I'm at, I know what changes to make in order to meet their expectations to make them feel comfortable. When I do that, I increase their respect, we increase trust, and therefore we increase productivity. Generally, we communicate with others because we want something. Otherwise, we do it ourselves, right? And if we make those changes, we increase our chances of reaching that goal, building that relationship and trust, than we do if we just stay who we are. It really hit home for me one time when I was working for a president who was that hard charger, my toxic opposite. And I went into our first meeting and I treated it like, okay, he was not that hard charger. I treated him like he was my style. And so we started talking about family and we started talking about this, and he got so impatient and uncomfortable that he left his own office in the meeting. Sit back and evaluating, I knew this stuff. I knew what I needed to do and I knew what style he was, but I didn't apply it here. Next meeting I came in, sent him a 1-page agenda on what we're going to accomplish, made sure he had it one day ahead of time so he could spend 5 minutes looking it over before we sat down and met. And we walked down through those tasks. And it was great because as we did that, now he was efficiently getting done what he was intending to do in those meetings. And it was interesting, after a few months of making this happen, it got to a point that our half-hour meetings, I was getting done with the list in 15 minutes. And I would get up to leave, and he'd say, whoa, whoa, whoa. Now we can start talking about the things that I wanted to, building that relationship and that thing. So what I did was I adjusted my style to make him feel comfortable. And as we worked through this, he adjusted his style to make me feel comfortable. To this day, we have a great relationship because of that. That's what I'm talking about. It's just a small modification. All right, make sure you fill out your game plan for this chapter. One more chapter left. Chapter 9 on being a motivator.